The vast emptiness of space around Earth's solar system remained undisturbed for millennia. Humans looked up at the stars, wondering if they were alone. They weren't. And on this day, everything would change. Admiral Torin stood on the bridge of the Imperial flagship *Dominance*, his four eyes scanning the holographic display of the small blue planet. His gray skin wrinkled around his mouth as he frowned. "This is the threat that Central Command is concerned about?" he asked, gesturing toward Earth with one of his upper limbs. "They look primitive." Lieutenant Krell approached with a data tablet. "Their technology is basic, Admiral. They've barely left their own moon. But our scouts report unusual patterns in their development." "Explain," Torin ordered, his voice deep and gravelly. "They advance quickly through conflict. Their history is filled with wars. When they fight, their technology improves rapidly." Krell pointed to various data points. "And they're resourceful. They adapt existing technology in ways our analysts find unpredictable." Torin made a dismissive sound. "The Empire has conquered 1,000 worlds more advanced than this one. Prepare the standard invasion protocol. Minimal forces." "Yes, Admiral." On Earth, at the North American Space Defense Command, alarms blared. General Reed rushed into the control room, where technicians hunched over screens showing multiple unknown objects approaching Earth. "What do we have?" Reed demanded. Major Thompson looked up from her station. "Sir, we've detected 8 large objects entering our solar system. They're slowing down near Mars. Based on their speed and trajectory, they can't be natural." Reed's face remained calm, but his eyes betrayed his concern. "Have they responded to our signals?" "We've been broadcasting on all frequencies since detection." No response. Reed nodded slowly. "Alert all nations. This is not a drill. First contact protocols are now in effect." Around the world, governments received the message. Military forces went on high alert while diplomatic teams prepared peaceful greetings in every human language. Back on the *Dominance*, Torin received a report from his communications officer. "Admiral, the humans are sending messages, audio and visual signals." "What do they say?" Torin asked without much interest. "Standard greetings, offers of peace and cooperation, requests to establish communication." Torin waved a hand dismissively. "Ignore them. All species try diplomacy when they see our ships. It changes nothing." He turned to his tactical officer. "Begin the first phase. Target their largest military installations and government centers. Minimal force. We want to preserve the planet's resources." "Yes, Admiral." The Imperial ships moved into Earth's orbit, their massive hulls glinting in the sunlight. On Earth, millions watched the sky, some in fear, others in wonder. Captain Ellis stood on the deck of the aircraft carrier *Independence*, watching the strange ships through binoculars. Unlike many, she felt neither fear nor wonder, only determination. "Orders, Captain," her first officer asked. "Maintain position. Ready all defenses, but do not engage unless attacked." Ellis lowered her binoculars. "Let's hope they come in peace." Her hope lasted exactly 8 minutes. The first beam struck New York, a precision strike that destroyed military facilities, but left most of the city intact. Seconds later, similar beams hit Beijing, Moscow, London, and 20 other strategic locations. On the *Dominance*, Torin watched with satisfaction as the tactical display showed successful hits. "Excellent. The humans will understand their position now. Prepare landing craft for the occupation forces." His communications officer suddenly straightened. "Admiral, the humans are responding. Already surrendering?" Torin asked, surprised. "No, sir. They're fighting back." As if to emphasize the point, warning alarms sounded throughout the ship. "Multiple missile launches detected from the planet's surface," reported the tactical officer, voice rising with unexpected concern. "Primitive nuclear weapons, but they're targeting our ships." Torin laughed. "Let them try. Our shields can handle their primitive weapons. The first missiles were indeed easily deflected. But what Torin couldn't know was that humans had just started to fight. And humans, when fighting for survival, were unlike any species the Empire had ever encountered before. Admiral Torin paced the bridge of the Dominance *, his confidence from 3 days ago replaced by growing irritation. The holographic display showed the current state of the invasion. It was not proceeding as planned. "How is this possible?" he demanded, slamming his fist against the control panel. These humans were supposed to surrender after the first attack. Lieutenant Krell approached cautiously. "Sir, they're using tactics we didn't anticipate. Instead of defending fixed positions, they're constantly moving. They've abandoned their military bases and spread their forces thin. Primitive species always surrender when faced with superior technology," Torin muttered. "Why are these humans different?" On Earth, Captain Ellis crouched in the makeshift underground command center that had once been a subway station. Maps and improvised communication equipment lined the walls. Officers from various nations worked together, their previous rivalries forgotten in the face of extinction. "The alien ships have a pattern to their attacks," Ellis explained to the assembled commanders. "They target what they think are our command centers, but they don't understand how quickly we can adapt." General Reed nodded. "Our best advantage is that they underestimate us. They expected an easy conquest." He pointed to a map showing destroyed military bases. "They don't realize we evacuated those locations before their second wave of attacks." "What about the captured alien scout ship?" Ellis asked. A scientist named Dr. Mason stepped forward. "We've learned their shields have a fluctuation cycle. There's a half-second window when they shift power from front to rear shields." Ellis's eyes lit up. "So if we time our attacks perfectly, we might actually damage their ships," Dr. Mason finished. 12 hours later, the Imperial cruiser Subjugator moved into position above what their scans showed as a human weapons facility. Commander Dex stood confidently on the bridge. "Begin the attack sequence," he ordered. "Standard bombardment pattern." The weapons officer nodded. "Yes, Commander." Shifting shields to frontal configuration for the descent. In the forest below, hidden beneath camouflage netting, Captain Ellis and her team waited. Dozens of modified missiles stood ready, their guidance systems altered based on Dr. Mason's findings. Ellis watched her timer. Shield transition should happen in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire. The missiles streaked upward just as the alien ship shields began their reconfiguration cycle. For that critical half-second, the lower hull was exposed. On the Subjugator alarms blared suddenly. "Multiple impacts," shouted the tactical officer. "Hull breach in sections 12 through 16. Commander Dex stared in disbelief. "Impossible. Their weapons shouldn't be able to." His words were cut short as the ship shuddered violently. Secondary explosions rippled through the lower decks as the human missiles found their targets. The massive cruiser tilted sideways, then began an uncontrolled descent toward Earth's surface. From her position, Ellis watched the burning ship crash into the uninhabited mountain range. "Mission accomplished," she said into her radio. "First confirmed kill. All teams evacuate before their reinforcements arrive." On the Dominance Admiral Toran received the news with cold fury. "One ship lost to these primitives," he growled. "This is unacceptable." "Sir," Krell reported, "we're getting similar reports from around the planet. The humans are adapting faster than our tactical simulations predicted. They've already salvaged technology from our downed scout ships." Toran's expression darkened. "Increase our forces. I want this planet secured within one orbital cycle." "Admiral," Krell hesitated, "the Council only authorized minimal forces for this conquest." "Then contact the Council. Tell them these humans require special attention." Toran turned to stare at the blue planet on the view screen. No primitive species has ever destroyed an Imperial vessel. These humans are different. In the underground command center, Leaders from around the world gathered to review the day's victories. Small ones, but victories nonetheless. General Reed addressed the room. Today we proved they can be hurt. They bleed like we do. He nodded toward Captain Ellis. And thanks to Captain Ellis's team, we now know they can be killed. A cheer went up from the assembled officers. The war had just begun, but humanity had sent its message to the stars. Earth would not fall easily. 6 months into the war, Earth looked different. Destroyed cities stood as monuments to the initial attacks, but the humans had adapted with remarkable speed. They no longer fought from fixed positions. They moved constantly, living in underground facilities and mobile bases. Commander Vex studied the human weapon they had captured, his forehead ridges deepening with concern. The device combined Imperial energy technology with human design principles. "This shouldn't be possible," he muttered. "They've taken our damaged weapons and improved them." Admiral Toran entered the laboratory, his mood dark after his latest report to the Council. "Tell me something useful, Commander." "Sir, these humans learn too quickly." Vex pointed to the hybrid weapon. "Look at this design. They've modified our phase cannon to work with their primitive power sources. It's crude but effective." "The Council is displeased with our progress," Toran said. "They've authorized full military engagement. The biological weapons are being prepared." Vex looked up sharply. "Biological weapons? Against a species we've barely studied." "Sir, that's an order," Toran snapped. "These humans have destroyed 17 Imperial vessels. No primitive species has ever caused such damage to the Empire." Meanwhile, in the Rocky Mountain complex, a massive underground facility carved into what was once a military base, General Reed studied the latest battle reports. "The aliens are bringing in reinforcements," he said to the assembled War Council. "Our satellites detected 20 new ships entering the system." Captain Ellis, now promoted to colonel, pointed to images on the screen. "These new ships are different, larger containment sections. They're bringing something new to the fight." Dr. Mason, thinner now after months of non-stop work, stood up. "We've made progress understanding their communication systems. We intercepted transmissions mentioning biological agents." The room fell silent. Earth's population had already been reduced by a third. "How do we fight a biological attack?" someone finally asked. Dr. Mason smiled for the first time in months. "Actually, we might have an advantage there. My team has been studying their physiology from the bodies recovered from downed ships. Their immune systems are remarkably standardized, evolved in controlled environments. Ours are chaotic by comparison." General Reed leaned forward. Meaning we might be able to turn their weapons against them. Their biological agents would need to be tailored to human biology. If we can capture one of their delivery systems intact." Colonel Ellis stood up. "My team can do it. We've gotten good at taking down their ships with minimal damage." 3 days later, Ellis's strike team hid in the ruins of what was once Chicago. Above them, an Imperial vessel prepared to release its deadly cargo. "Remember, we need to disable the deployment system, not destroy it," Ellis reminded her team through the radio. "Target the propulsion and guidance only." The strike team fired their modified weapons at precisely the right moment, just as the alien ship's shields cycled. The delivery pod, damaged but intact, crashed into an empty field instead of dispersing its contents over the city ruins. Dr. Mason's team, waiting nearby in protective gear, secured the pod and transported it to their mobile laboratory. 1 week later, the Empire launched its biological attack on remaining human strongholds. The deadly agents spread through the air, seeking human hosts. Nothing happened. On the *Dominance*, Admiral Toran received the impossible report. The biological agents had no effect. He asked, stunned. "Worse, sir," the science officer replied. "Somehow, the humans have created a counteragent. And..." He hesitated. "What?" Toran demanded. "They've modified the agent to target our biology. Reports from ground forces indicate our troops are falling ill." Torrent stared at the view screen showing Earth. How? How did they develop a defense and a counterweapon so quickly? In the mountain complex, humans celebrated their first major victory, Dr. Mason explained to the leaders. Their biological weapons were highly sophisticated but designed for a predictable enemy. We're unpredictable. Our chaotic immune systems and genetic diversity gave us the building blocks to create the counteragent. General Reed addressed the room. For the first time, the Empire is truly on the defensive. Now we push them back. Across Earth, humans prepared to take the fight to the stars. Admiral Torrens stood before the holographic images of the Galactic Council, their alien faces showing various signs of displeasure. For a military leader who had conquered 17 systems without defeat, this was new territory. "Explain yourself, Admiral," demanded High Counselor Mraz, his tentacles writhing in agitation. "How has a primitive species with barely functional space travel managed to repel our forces for a full year?" Torrent forced himself to stand tall. "The humans are unique, Counselor. They don't fight like other species we've encountered." "You've lost 32 ships," another counselor barked. "The biological offensive failed completely. Our ground forces are being systematically eliminated." "They adapt faster than our simulations predicted," Torrent explained. "When we destroy their weapons, they build better ones. When we kill their leaders, new ones emerge immediately. They've started reverse engineering our technology at an alarming rate." Commander Vex stepped forward. "If I may, counselors, I've been studying human psychology. They possess a unique trait when threatened with extinction. Instead of breaking, they become more dangerous." Mraz's eyes narrowed. "Your assessment, Commander?" "The original invasion force was insufficient," Vex replied. "We need to commit our full military might or withdraw completely." The counselors murmured among themselves. "Very well," Mraz decided. "We will send the 4th Fleet, 40 additional warships. No species has ever withstood such force." As the transmission ended, Torrent turned to Vex. "You didn't tell them everything, did you?" Vex looked troubled. "No, Admiral. I didn't tell them I believe these humans might actually win." On Earth, the first human offensive beyond their atmosphere was launching. Colonel Ellis stood in the hangar of Defiance *, Earth's first starship built with hybrid technology. What had once been an aircraft carrier was now modified with Imperial drive systems, salvaged from downed enemy ships. "Our mission is simple," Ellis told the assembled troops. "We hit their supply base on Mars, destroy their resources, and return. This isn't about winning the war today. It's about showing them we can take the fight to them." General Reed approached her as the troops dispersed to their stations. "This is a historic moment, Colonel. The first human counterattack beyond Earth." Ellis nodded. "If we succeed, it changes everything." "When we succeed," Reed corrected her with a rare smile, "the Empire isn't ready for humans in space." The Defiance broke Earth's atmosphere smoothly, its hybrid engines glowing with blue energy. Imperial sensors on the Martian base detected the approaching vessel but classified it incorrectly, assuming it was one of their own until it was too late. The attack was swift and devastating. Ellis led the ground assault personally, her troops using modified Imperial weapons against their creators. The base fell in less than 2 hours. As Ellis planted Earth's flag in Martian soil, she activated her communications device. "General Reed, Mars base secure. Their supply chain is broken." The cheers from Earth Command echoed through her helmet. On the Dominance Admiral Torrent received the news with growing dread. "They've attacked Mars. They're leaving their planet now." Lieutenant Krell's voice shook slightly. "Yes, Admiral. They've adapted our technology faster than anyone thought possible." Torrent slammed his fist into the wall. This was supposed to be a simple conquest. "How are they doing this?" Commander Vex had been quiet, reviewing data from the Mars attack. "Sir, I've been analyzing their tactics. They're using our own strategies against us, but modified, improved. They study us while we underestimate them. The Fourth Fleet will arrive in 17 days, Torin said. Then we'll end this. Sir, Vex said cautiously, I've run simulations based on their rate of technological adaptation. By the time the Fourth Fleet arrives, the humans will have built more ships. They'll have improved our weapons further. For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Torin felt something unfamiliar creeping into his mind. Doubt. In the council chambers, deep in the heart of Empire space, the first reports of the Mars attack arrived. High Counselor Mraz read them with growing concern. Impossible, he whispered. No species has ever gone from planetary defense to space offense so quickly. An aide approached nervously. Counselor, Imperial Intelligence has compiled a new report on humans. Their assessment has been upgraded from minor threat to major threat to existential threat. Mraz looked up sharply. Existential? To the Empire. Yes, Counselor. The report recommends immediate full military response or complete withdrawal from human space. The Empire had ruled for thousands of years. No species had ever posed an existential threat before. Until humans. 3 years into the war, the once mighty Empire found itself in an unthinkable position. Fighting for survival against a species they had initially dismissed as primitive. Human technology now matched Imperial capabilities in many areas, the result of rapid adaptation and reverse engineering. Commander Vex stood alone in his quarters aboard the Dominance *, staring at the data crystal in his hand. What it contained would be considered high treason. After months of private research, he had discovered the Empire's desperate final plan. A planet-killer weapon being assembled in secret. They don't understand what they're doing, he whispered to himself. Destroying Earth won't stop humans now. His decision made, Vex disabled the tracking devices in his personal shuttle and slipped away during a patrol rotation. His destination, Earth. On the blue planet below, Colonel Ellis, now General Ellis, studied the latest intelligence reports in the Global Defense Headquarters, a massive underground complex beneath the Australian outback. The Fourth Fleet has taken heavy losses, she noted, addressing General Reed and the other military leaders. Our Mars shipyards are producing 2 new vessels weekly. Reed nodded, his face showing the wear of 3 years of constant war. But the Empire is still bringing in reinforcements. They're throwing everything at us now. A junior officer burst into the room. Generals, an Imperial shuttle has entered our airspace. Shoot it down, someone ordered. No, the officer continued. It's broadcasting on our frequencies, requesting asylum. The pilot claims to have critical information about an Imperial superweapon. Ellis and Reed exchanged glances. Bring the shuttle in under heavy guard, Reed ordered. Hours later, Commander Vex sat across from the human generals, his translator device converting his speech. I've served the Empire my entire life, Vex explained, his voice steady despite his fear. But what they plan now goes beyond conquest. They're building a weapon that can crack your planet's crust, rendering Earth uninhabitable. He placed the data crystal on the table. Complete schematics. The weapon platform is being constructed in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Why are you telling us this? Ellis asked, suspicion evident in her voice. Vex's 4 eyes blinked slowly. Because I've studied your species for 3 years. You're different from any race we've encountered. Destroying your homeworld won't stop you. It will only ensure the Empire's eventual destruction. There are still those of us who hope for peace. General Reed studied the alien carefully. If this information is accurate, we need to act immediately. Ellis reviewed the schematics from the crystal. The platform is 80% complete. Once operational, we'd have no defense against it. We need to destroy it before it's finished, Reed stated. A direct assault. The platform is heavily defended, Vex warned. The Empire has committed 3 battle groups to protect it. Ellis stood up, determination in her eyes. Then we'll commit 4. She turned to Reed. I want to lead this mission personally. As will I. Reed replied. This is the turning point of the war. 7 days later, the largest human fleet ever assembled approached the asteroid belt. 4 battleships, including the flagship Humanity led the formation, with 20 smaller cruisers providing support. General Ellis stood on the bridge beside General Reed. Enemy ships detected, announced the tactical officer. 3 full battle groups, just as Commander Vex reported. On the main screen, the massive weapon platform came into view, a monstrous construction of metal and energy, growing between the asteroids. All ships, battle formation Delta, Ellis ordered. Primary target is the platform. Secondary targets are their command ships. The space between Earth and Mars erupted in blinding energy as the 2 fleets engage. Imperial ships, once terrifying to humans, now faced opponents with equal technology and greater determination. The battle raged for hours. Ships on both sides fell, but the human fleet drove forward relentlessly. We've lost the Resilience and the Defiant reported the communications officer, her voice tight with emotion. Continue the advance, Reed ordered. We're almost within firing range of the platform. The Humanity took heavy damage, shields failing on its port side. But Ellis kept the ship on course. All remaining ships, focus fire on the platform's central power core, she commanded. Fire everything we have. Beams of concentrated energy from the human fleet converged on a single point on the massive weapon. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the platform's core began to glow, building to blinding intensity before exploding in a massive shockwave that tore the structure apart. Cheers erupted across the human fleet. The planet killer was destroyed. In the Imperial flagship watching from a distance, Admiral Toran witnessed the destruction with horror. For the first time in the Empire's long history, its ultimate weapon had failed. The tide of war had turned. Admiral Toran stood before the full Galactic Council, no longer appearing as a hologram, but physically present for judgment. The Grand Chamber, with its soaring crystalline ceiling that displayed the glory of the Empire's 10,000 conquered worlds, now seemed to mock him. The planet killer has been destroyed, High Counselor Mraz stated, his voice echoing through the chamber. The 4th Fleet is in retreat. Explain yourself, Admiral. Toran's once proud posture was gone. The humans, they continue to defy our understanding. With Commander Vex's defection, they gained critical intelligence. A single traitor does not explain 4 years of failure, another counselor shouted. Before Toran could respond, the chamber's alarms blared. A junior officer rushed in, his gray skin pale with fear. Counselors, we've detected multiple unauthorized entries into the system. Unknown ships have bypassed our outer defenses. The massive display shifted to show the approaching vessels. Ships of clearly human design but incorporating Imperial technology were heading directly toward the heart of Empire space. Impossible, whispered Mraz. How did they find our homeworld so quickly? On the lead human ship, Freedom General Ellis studied the alien world growing larger on the view screen. Commander Vex stood beside her, providing guidance. Their defenses are formidable, Vex noted, but they never expected an attack here. No enemy has reached the Imperial core worlds in 5,000 years. Ellis nodded, and we're not alone. The Pralaxians have joined us with their fleet. Indeed, accompanying the human ships were vessels of another design. The Pralaxians, a species long subjugated by the Empire who had seized this opportunity to rebel. The Empire's control was always based on fear, Vex said. Your resistance has shown others that the Empire can be fought. More rebellions are erupting across Imperial space. Ellis turned to her communications officer. Send the message to all Imperial frequencies. Throughout Imperial space, on thousands of ships and hundreds of worlds, the same transmission played. General Ellis, standing proud in a human military uniform. People of the Empire, we did not start this war. We sought only to defend our world. But now we bring this message. Freedom is possible. The Empire is not invincible. Join us or stand aside. But know this, the age of imperial conquest is over. In the council chamber, the transmission played before the stunned counselors. Admiral Torin watched with a mixture of horror and reluctant admiration. "You still underestimate them," he said quietly. "Even now." High Counselor Mraz turned on him. "You dare speak. Your failure brought this disaster upon us." "My failure?" Torin laughed bitterly. "I warned you they were different. I requested full military response from the beginning. You denied it until too late, believing humans would fall like all the others." Outside, the first explosions lit up the sky as human ships engaged the Imperial Defense Fleet. "We must launch our remaining fleets," a counselor demanded. "They're already deployed across our territory," another replied, "trying to contain rebellions on 17 worlds." Mraz's tentacles writhed in agitation. How has this happened? How has a single primitive species brought us to this point? Admiral Torin watched the battle unfolding on the display. "Because we conquered. They fight. We imposed order. They embrace chaos. We stagnated. They adapt." He turned to face the council. "And now I will do what I should have done years ago." "What is that, Admiral?" Mraz asked suspiciously. "I will save what remains of the Empire." Torin straightened his uniform. "Prepare my command ship. I will lead one final attack." Hours later, Admiral Torin's flagship, accompanied by the remains of the Imperial Home Fleet, approached the human Pralaxian Armada. He opened a channel to the Freedom *. "General Ellis, I presume." Ellis appeared on his screen. "Admiral Torin, ready to surrender." "I am ready to end this," Torin replied. "One final battle. My remaining ships against yours. Here and now." Ellis studied him for a moment. "Why not just surrender? Save your people more bloodshed." "Because some lessons must be learned completely," Torin answered, his voice carrying unexpected dignity. "The Empire must understand what it means to fight humans." As the two fleets engaged in the space above the Imperial throne world, planets across the galaxy watched. Species that had lived under Imperial rule for millennia saw something they had never witnessed before: the Empire fighting for its survival. And losing. 5 years after the first Imperial ships appeared in Earth's skies, Admiral Ellis stood on the observation deck of the Unity *, Earth's newest and largest starship. Below them stretched the neutral space station where the peace conference would take place, a massive structure built jointly by humans and former Imperial worlds. "Hard to believe it's finally ending," said General Reed, now showing his age after years of brutal warfare. "We've lost so much." Ellis nodded. "But we survived. And now we help shape what comes next." Commander Vex approached them, wearing the new diplomatic uniform that marked him as part of the coalition. "The Imperial representatives have arrived. They've accepted all preliminary terms." The three looked out at the Imperial diplomatic vessel docking with the station. It was elegant but small, nothing like the massive warships that had once terrorized Earth. "Is it strange?" Ellis asked Vex. "Seeing your empire reduced to this?" Vex considered the question. "What you see as reduction, many across the galaxy see as liberation. The Empire controlled too much for too long. Balance was needed." Inside the Grand Conference Chamber, representatives from 27 species gathered. Former Imperial subjects now declaring independence, neutral systems that had watched the war with growing concern, and in the center, the human delegation. The Imperial delegation entered last. Instead of the High Council, they were led by a new figure, Director Lam, a reformer who had risen to power after the fall of the previous government. "We are prepared to sign the Treaty of Soul," announced Director Lam, using the human name for Earth's star. "The Empire formally recognizes the independence of Earth and all human colonies. We also acknowledge the right of self-determination for all species previously under Imperial rule." Ellis signed the document first, her signature representing not just Earth but humanity's new place among the stars. One by one, representatives of other worlds added their marks. The Empire has existed for 10,000 years. Director Lamb said quietly to Ellis after the ceremony. We never imagined it could be challenged, let alone forced to retreat. We never wanted war, Ellis replied. We only wanted to survive. That is precisely why you won, Lamb observed. Species that fight only for survival fight harder than those who fight for conquest. Later that day, Commander Vex led Ellis and Reed on a tour of the station's new Galactic Coalition headquarters. 28 species have already joined, Vex explained. A cooperative alliance rather than an empire, each maintaining independence while working together for mutual defense and advancement. And humans are invited as founding members, Reed noted, from primitives to equals in 5 years. More than equals, Vex corrected. Your leadership during the war has given humans a special status. Many look to Earth for guidance now. Ellis stopped at a display showing the new coalition emblem, symbols from all member species arranged in a circle of unity. What will happen to the Empire's records of the war? She asked. Vex activated a nearby terminal. See for yourself. This is the official Imperial Historical Archive, updated after the treaty signing. The screen displayed Imperial text, which the translator converted. Asterisk Imperial Standard Year 10,547. First contact with species designation, human from planet Earth. Initial assessment classified them as primitive, but noted unusual adaptive capabilities. Standard conquest protocols failed catastrophically, resulting in the first major military defeat in Imperial history. Asterisk warning to all Imperial commanders. Humans display unprecedented tactical adaptation and technological assimilation. Once engaged in warfare, they advance at approximately 500% the rate of standard species. Their psychological response to existential threats makes them exponentially more dangerous when cornered. Asterisk Imperial Threat Classification. Maximum asterisk. Imperial First Contact Protocol for Human-Controlled Space. Do not enj. Retreat if they come. Warun asterisk. Reed laughed quietly. From primitives to the most feared species in the galaxy. Ellis shook her head. Fear isn't what we want. Respect is enough. You have both, Vex assured her. And more importantly, you've changed the galaxy forever. The Empire ruled through dominance. The Coalition will lead through cooperation. As the three looked out at the stars, ships of dozens of designs moved peacefully through space around the station. Representative vessels from newly freed worlds, trading ships no longer bound by Imperial restrictions, and human ships exploring beyond Sol for the first time. What happens now? Asked Reed. Ellis smiled, watching an Earth ship prepare for its maiden voyage to distant stars. Now we do what humans have always done best. We adapt. We build. We explore. She turned to face her old comrades. And we make sure no empire ever threatens free worlds again. Among the stars, a new era had begun. And at its heart stood humanity. No longer primitive, no longer alone, and never to be underestimated again.